last year, and that was not enough for him. You know, and I think he's had so much experience. You know, it was cool because we got to hang out with him backstage before his matches. Because everybody else, all the other non-Koreans were dying off, so it was just kind of us.
Right.
He had a really good attitude. He was really laid back. He was feeling comfortable. And I expect big things from him today.
Boys, final thoughts before we go to the casters?
I'm just a little bit excited to see if he tries out that mech back into bio play again. Super cool style. We didn't get to see it actualized yesterday as Rogue managed to shut it down, but if we get to see that, it's going to be really cool.
Todd?
SpeCial is meant for greater things than losing right here. So even if that means he only wins here and then loses to Classic, I think he's not meant to lose here and he's going to win against Nerchio.
Fair play. Well, thank you very much, guys. It's time to go over to our commentary team here as Nerchio goes up against SpeCial. It's the Guardian versus the President.
Thank you, James. Couldn't have said it better myself. Maynard and Artosis here for this series. It's wonderful TVZ between two WCS veterans have been around. Feels like since the dawn of time, Artosis.
Yeah, well, the dawn of StarCraft 2 time, at least. They have been around since the very beginning. Two very storied players like we heard before. Who actually takes it, though, Maynard? That's what we're about to find out.
It is so tough. I think we'll have to get spoken to through the magic of StarCraft, through the dance of 1v1 StarCraft. This is the best way to see what two people are all about. SpeCial for me also, you know, even though these guys head-to-head are actually matched 8-8 in score, SpeCial for me at the moment does feel like the stronger player.
Yeah.
But it's just because of the side effect of Nerchio just having a bit of a quieter year. You know, SpeCial's been on stage a lot, getting deep in a few of these WCS tournaments, making top 4 in BlizzCon last year as well. He has it just feels like a lot more televised games than Nerchio this year.
Yeah.
And that could be completely wrong here. I actually wouldn't be shocked at all to see the president of Poznan come through and get himself a series win here. But speaking of which, in the bottom left, representing Iron Chain, this is Nerchio. And the top right, representing Predator Sports, the Mexican Terran, this is SpeCial.
Well, I can't disagree with you, but I do want to point out that Nerchio, I don't feel like he played poorly in this tournament. Yeah, he lost, but I mean, he's not looking bad. So I feel like he definitely can give a fight. I liked Pig's analysis where it's like, you know, if he figures out that it's going to be mech pretty early on, that definitely can turn into a quick victory for Nerchio. And SpeCial is not likely to cut that completely out of this series. I would imagine if this goes 3 games, probably one of them will have mech.
Yeah, he is, you know, we saw TY earlier, and very similar to him, that he does like to mix in the bio and the mech. I actually asked him about it yesterday, like, what are you doing at the moment in this matchup? And he said, you know, versus Rogue, I'll probably mix up bio and mech depending on how I feel, what the map's going to be, and that's exactly what he did. So we're going to be going into Cerulean Fall here. I feel like I haven't seen tons of this map here at this tournament, but going into it for map number 1, and I actually would love to see Nerchio have another crack at Classic, because that first game was extremely close on Lost and Found.
Well, I mean, yeah, that was definitely a really good game, and it is a little bit scary to think of SpeCial going up against Classic here, because Classic's PvT is so strong, but I agree, he's meant for better things, for bigger things. This is a player that is just never going to go away, and I want to continue to see him do well. You know, some of these players, they talk, you know, you watch Cyril's Signature Series, he's like, well, I win all the tournaments and all the money, but one day I feel like I have to go to school. I don't think that's true, but okay, cool, you do what you do. SpeCial, on the other hand, I can't imagine him doing anything but StarCraft for the rest of his life.
and also for Cyril, I feel like, you know, another $500,000, you might think twice about, you know, trying to go to school too soon.
Well, looking at where we're at in this game so far, looks very, very standard from both sides. Nothing out of the ordinary, so that wouldn't really surprise me either if this goes into a pretty standard macro game overall.
Nerchio just keeping that drone to the left-hand side here. He knows that the Reaper's about to show up, so he's trying to keep it alive so he can get that third without being slowed down. SpeCial's Reaper is coming down here, but Nerchio just being better to be safe than sorry, I guess, here for this third base. And there's that 300 minerals, and he can take it. Reaper of SpeCial is coming up for a little bit of scouting information. Not a whole lot to see here from Nerchio's camp.
Well, SpeCial just scouting around. He'll find this third base just momentarily. Of course, going to go over there and check. But in the meantime, just kind of teching up. Of course, Nerchio getting his drones going, waiting for that circling speed as well.
Yeah, it's just going to be a regular 1-1-1 here from SpeCial. Starport being put on the edge here and getting a Marine before the Tech Lab. It's interesting that he's getting a second Marine here. Normally you just get the one, and then you bat away that Overlord and get a Tech Lab on that barracks. So a little different here from SpeCial with that extra Marine, but He's a better player than me, so I won't. I won't criticize.
Kind of interesting, right? Like if you get that tech lab, you definitely can either switch it up, grab like a Banshee, a Raven, something like that. Okay, he starts a tech lab now, and that would be on the barracks as well. Huh. I wonder why he decided that. I guess we'll see going forward. Does have those couple of Marines out now, though.
I guess if you always intended to go for the Liberator, it doesn't matter. Like, it's nice to have these 2 Marines out. They will have a lot better job of getting that Overlord.
And 2 Marines are so much better than 1 Marine against Zerglings.
Really are.
It's people think they're just twice as good. It's not true. It's actually way more than that.
I feel like the more Marines you get, they kind of exponentially grow in how much damage they can do and whatnot. We got a Belly Nest here from Nerchio. To be better safe than sorry in case these Hellions turn into Hellbats. He's not too sure yet. Hasn't really gotten much of a scout on the other side of the map. His Overlord's over that natural, but he hasn't seen the main base of Special. So he actually is quite blind here.
Yeah, it's true. And the lack of scouting is really apparent, as our observer shows us right here. Big shout out to our observers, of course, doing a great job so far this weekend. But he doesn't even see that 3rd command center yet with his Overlord over the ledge. So kind of nice for Special as a start.
And with that Baneling Nest, he will soon be able to make Banelings to help him out against these Hellions, but the Liberator is coming towards that natural, and there is no Queen here at the moment, or Sporecrawler. So this can kind of dart out. Oh, there we go. She's just hatched. She's ready to fight back. A late reaction, though.
Accidentally shoots that Overlord once, so gives him a little bit of warning as well. Re-sieges here while microing with these Hellions running past. There are a lot of Speedlings out.
Yeah, certainly. If he lost these Hellions, that would be really bad for Special. Oh, that Queen just wins that battle. Looks like another Queen went down the end there. 3 drones going down at the moment for Nerchio, but certainly not game-ending damage. Just a little bit of chip damage there from Special. Hellions are still alive, though. And the 3rd base is constantly being poked here by the Terran.
Yeah, there's definitely potential here for him to continue a little bit of pressure since those Queens have been softened up a bit. Creep spread is not out of control yet either. And in the meantime, just kind of adding in engineering base. Only 1 evolution chamber coming up for Nerchio, though. That's kind of interesting.
And we're seeing differences here between Special and TY, where, you know, TY would opt for that Raven to try and get that creep spread removal with those Hellions. Special, however, is actually just going straight into what looks to be just a, bio tank here. So Medevac sooner join the field as he gets that extra reactor on the starport.
Well, seems like he just wants to power up a little bit more here, and the 2nd evolution chamber now starting for Nerchio, just a little bit later on there. Continuing to push his creep spread, and of course, Special with that finished 3rd command center, getting ready here to really get his macro flowing.
Pretty solid economy as we speak of macro for both players. You know, Nerchio's nearly on 70 workers. Oh, this is a nice catch for Special, though. Having that Reaper in position, he can actually block this gas geyser if he's on top of it. Doesn't actually block it, though. A little bit of a late reaction there for Special, so the Reaper is about to get overwhelmed by these Lings, but at least Nerchio does not lose that drone.
Yeah, that would have been very, very annoying for him. And, you know, he can be a little bit of an emotional player. So as long as everything going well in the early game, he's a lot stronger, in my opinion, as we go forward. And it seems to me like none of this damage has been anything that's troublesome for Nerchio yet.
And he is going to go on to Ling Bane Hydra. European Zerg staple here against Terran. Lambo showed us a lot more Roach Ravager, as we're seeing sort of the expected unit comps for Terran and Zerg being made from both players. So this is one of the most exciting unit compositions here in this matchup. Part of the reason why people like it so much. A little bit of engagement here in the middle of the map. The creep spread of Nerchio getting knocked back a little bit. The tanks of Special being very patient, keeping him on the edge of the creep there. Not able to get overwhelmed, and also using terrain to great effect. These tanks at the low ground here.
I think there's a decent chance he can actually get this cancel. It looks like Nerchio moving out on the creep a bit. Yeah, he is just going to let that one go. But that's actually a big victory for Special. I think from here, you pull back and reinforce.
And Nerchio trying to use some Lings for counterattack there, but Special holds back with some reinforcements. Big overwhelming number of Lings here. The Banelings connect with a few units. They don't have speed just yet, so it's not the cleanest of engagements for Nerchio, but he does knock Special off in the middle of the map, giving him more room to spread that creep, which is already looking quite nice, by the way, and retake that 4th with a little bit of breathing room.
Well, that was actually pretty important, right? If you are going to lose that, you definitely have got to kill off as much as you can on the way out. But the fact that Special saves 2 of his tanks, very, very important stuff. Now look at this. The armory coming up, of course, he wants to continue his upgrades, but the 2nd factory.
Yeah.
Now, the 2nd factory, that doesn't surprise me because I love seeing people go 2 factory siege tank against this, but he's making some Widow Mines right here.
Yeah, this is actually to help out, just in case Nerchio gets way too many Lings and Banes to deal with. 2 factory siege tanks sometimes is enough, but if the Zerg maybe, you know, goes a little bit lighter on the Hydra count and much heavier on the Ling Bane count, which a lot of them are doing nowadays, the Widowmines certainly help a ton in that regard.
It's a really good point, and really he hadn't seen Hydras till just this moment as well, so if they are low in those numbers, you definitely can utilize those Banelings, rather Widowmines, sorry. But
the Terran Baneling.
Yes, the Terran Baneling that goes right underground. Look at this, he's even getting his Tunneling Claws.
Yeah, ooh, baby. And that's actually a really sick upgrade into the late game as well. Really keen to see how that upgrade looks in next year, or I guess later this year when the patch hits for the StarCraft. But SpeCial clearing up some creep here on the high ground. Lings and Banes heading to the right-hand side. Looks like he wants to do a good run-by into that 3rd base. Meanwhile, a run-by here is SpeCial going in that 4th again.
Oh, if he can get this 4th, and I think he will. Nerchio not sending units. Okay, just now sending him down. He is not going to be able to save it.
Wow.
Oh.
Uh-oh. 3rd base being hit at the same time. The nice multitasking here is SpeCial. Nerchio spread very thin here. Does not have enough forces to fight back on all locations.
Yeah, tries to do a counterattack, but that gets chopped up. And now SpeCial continuing to harass, chopping off into that main base and continuing to clear creep all over the place.
Certainly getting a lot of drone kills now. Nerchio getting knocked down to 66 drones, losing 11 here. That 3rd and main combined with that drop play from SpeCial. He's over here trying to get this hatchery as well. Target fire down. It does get cancelled. Widowmine hits the Queens, but now the Lings can get to work.
Trying to get out of there with that medevac as well as the Queens push him back. I gotta say, so far this game, SpeCial has just kept the pressure on and he's finding damage here, there, everywhere. Nerchio's having a hard time at this point.
Yeah, SpeCial's been really, he's always in several places at once, and he's still here, unfortunately, for Nerchio, so this hatchery doesn't look like it's going to happen either as soon as SpeCial notices. All right, SpeCial a little bit later to notice. Looks like Nerchio is going to actually get that hatchery up for now.
You know, I'm getting very nervous right now for Nerchio, and these games, like, these are the games that really fall out of control for Zerg, when you cannot secure that 4th base, because SpeCial's had a 3rd for a very long time. His upgrades are on point. His tech is continuing forward. I'm not sure where Nerchio is supposed to go from here.
Well, he's getting adrenals, so his Lings are about to become a little bit better, but we're not seeing a whole lot of other Tier 3 stuff from Nerchio. There's our first Tier 3 unit, the Viper, coming out here for the Polish Zerg. Certainly going to be very helpful because SpeCial is about to go really heavy into Liberator production. We're seeing those extra starports go down, the Fusion Core as well. And he is expecting Ultralisks here. Oh, those Banelings actually connecting quite nicely with the green. That's actually a nice engagement there for Nerchio to start things off with.
That was. Finally, something goes his way, but still, I got to give the edge to SpeCial here. He's got his 3-3 right now. I mean, his 2-2 rather, 3-3 not started yet. But the fact that he's adding on all this production and he has his 4th base mining, that is a great place to be in as a Terran.
Definitely, being on the same base count as a Zerg is always nice for a Terran. Oh no, that 5th hatchery just finishes, and just like a clock, SpeCial comes in, the second it finishes and targets it down. And that's another hatchery pickoff. He's killed like 3 hatcheries this game, I think.
Yeah, that spot has been killed so many times now. Really, really painful stuff for Nerchio, but he's still got this army that, you know, you can have these strong trades with.
Yeah, they got that 3-3 starting for SpeCial. Plus 3 attack started a little bit earlier for Nerchio. Carapace is not on the way with him just yet. So Nerchio's been actually spending a lot of his gas getting Banelings and Hydras and replenishing his forces, losing them in these battles against the constant, never-ending, unrelenting pressure of SpeCial in this game. So the Carapace upgrade does hurt him, especially if it intends to get Ultras, which are also quite gas-heavy.
Yeah.
Everything the Zerg needs to kill Terran is quite gas-heavy.
Yes, that is quite true. You can't just kill him with Lings at this point in the game, especially with this many Widowmines out right now. Now, SpeCial trying to push forward once again, brings up some of these mines. A lot of Hydras coming up, though. And I think he's going to be able to just push SpeCial back once again.
It looks like Nerchio has actually identified that the Widowmines have been such a problem that he's going heavier into Hydra production to help himself out. It's certainly working on this side of the map, but down here, SpeCial with another big drop here, just mowing down those Lings rolling in single file. Banelings are about to come in. He just picks up and gets a few of those Marines out of there. He gets 3 drones and a few Lings, so that's not the greatest drop in the world. Nerchio deflects for now.
But you know what? He's keeping Nerchio busy as well, which is important. The creep spread didn't really go beyond the half-map mark. And now we have SpeCial really getting into the late-game tech that he wants, which includes a lot of Liberators and Widowmines still.
And that army supply advantage for SpeCial is a very, very scary for the Zerg here. Those tier 3 scary things for the Zerg are only on the way now. A Blinding Cloud gets dropped there to make starter stepping a little bit tougher for SpeCial on the ramp, but that Viper energy is not too high either.
Now definitely going to have to charge that up once again. Nerchio taking some good defensive fights here, holding on to everything at the moment, but SpeCial continues to march towards 3-3. He's starting to send out some Liberators. He's getting his army together for a massive attack here.
Liberator harassment here on this base. No Spore Crawler and only just the one Queen. Nerchio having his tension elsewhere there. He's going to lose a handful of drones to this, but there's a nice bit of army here for Nerchio. Not that much creep on the end there, and SpeCial is right where he wants to be. Pushing it back again. Nerchio once again bullied back to that high ground as SpeCial tries to muscle through. These Hydra count is so scary, but as the Liberators get up there, it's going to be getting harder and harder for Nerchio to make these Hydras work.
Yeah, it is getting more difficult, but I got to applaud how well he's doing with the Hydras.
Certainly,
he's just taking these fights as well as he can, defending brilliantly, but over time, this is not going to work out for him if he can't hold on to these bases.
SpeCial is so light on siege tanks, but the Liberators, the Widowmines, and just the sheer amount of bio has been keeping him alive in these engagements against the Hydralisk, which on paper are meant to stop that. Infestors are coming out now for Nerchio as well, and I love the addition of Infestors. Not a lot of Zergs go for it, but they're going to be very, very helpful in making it harder for SpeCial to stutter step and gut in and do damage in a retreat like this.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and let's not forget the amount of pressure that SpeCial puts out. His units are never green, okay? He doesn't have medevac energy. That's not a thing that you see with SpeCial because he's always stimming, he's always running around, he's always moving around. So those fungal growths, the damage is going to be important as well.
Using a Viper of ducking out of the Liberator there. Great Bailey connection on those Marines. And SpeCial is still pressing the issue here, but his army supply advantage that he had is starting to thin out a little bit. Nerchio needs some nice fungals here to punish SpeCial. He gets him on that creep, gets a fungal. SpeCial quickly picks up that medevac and saves his units though.
Yeah, definitely a decent fungal, but he can't fight here anymore, and he knows it. This is why he has evacuated those drones. He's pulling back a little bit more. You have to let that hatchery die. There has to be a better place for him to take the next engagement.
It looks like the action zone right here in the bottom right, where that hatchery that's been killed so many times, is where the new habitat of these drones is going to be, but they're long distance mining for now. These Vipers are a little exposed and a little low on energy. A counterattack here from Nerchio. That's a planetary, but he dives on top of it and fungals the SCVs before they can repair. Great move there from Nerchio. Can he get this planetary? It looks like the answer is yes.
Yeah, looks like he will just get it before those SCVs can make that crucial difference. So a good pickoff. But in the meantime, SpeCial continues to push forward here. Liberators siege all over the place. Uh-oh, the Ultralisk Cavern gonna fall. Not as if he has the money to make any, though.
It looks like that counterattack from Nerchio really thinned out his forces, and now he can't defend as well as attack. This is actually not so great for the Polish Zerg. He's coming in with a bit of a flank here. Let's see if he can get this done. SpeCial is out of range of these Liberators.
All right, actually does some very nice abducts there and causes a lot of those to unsiege. Of course, SpeCial pulling them back very quickly, continuing to rally forward with his army. And with about twice as much army supply and the amount of bases he shut down this game, it feels like this is just about the end for Nerchio.
Yeah, I think SpeCial has broken the back of Nerchio here. It's been a bit of a tug-of-war game with SpeCial seeming the stronger player, but he is starting to wear Nerchio down to a nub, and he's going to be able to stim on through for the win here. SpeCial getting the first map in this best of 3.
Yeah, that was definitely very well done by SpeCial. He denied that 4th base. How many times did he deny that, Maynard? Was that like 4 denials?
Like 3 or 4, I feel.
Yeah.
Maybe like 2 denials and 2 hatchery kills or something like that. Like quite a lot of damage there to Nerchio. It really felt like, you're absolutely right, I feel like around that 4th base timing for Nerchio is when stuff started to really unravel. When SpeCial was starting to hit in several places at once, always dropping on the left-hand side of Cerulean Fall while hitting from the right as well. And when you do that against the Zerg is so strong when they don't have to split their units and split their army up. Splitting your army up as a Zerg is something that's quite I feel like an exact science. It's something that SpeCial does very, very well, by the way. Like one of the reasons why Terrans find him so hard to harass and do damage to is because he always has the right amount of units where they need to be.
Which it's such a hard skill to have, truthfully. Like you said, the Terran can boost around so quickly. They kind of have that aggressor's advantage of just showing up wherever they want with however much they want. So you do have to do that splitting magnificently. Now, we've seen Nerchio do that in the past. And I gotta say, despite the fact he did not get his 4th base up and running for what felt like forever, he took some great engagements. He was utilizing positions, the range of his Hydralisk. He was doing a lot of things fantastically there when he was really far behind and kept the game going. So if he can get that 4th up and mining in a similar game, SpeCial is not going to be able to finish him like we just saw there.
Oh, certainly not. You restart that game with the hatchery going up, with him defending nicely and having a lot more of an economy and more army production, not losing units to harassment. Those counterattacks that he was desperately trying to do on the 3rd CC of SpeCial would have gone a lot better. He would have had a lot more lings, perhaps even banelings in there. He would have hit the SCVs. I think there was so little harassment damage done to SpeCial until the very end, which was that planetary kill, that Nerchio just really couldn't slow him down.
Yeah, that was about it.
Well, let's introduce our players in the bottom right here, currently against the ropes. The Polish Zerg from Iron Chain, this is Nerchio! Or King Artur, as he's known to a lot of us. President of Poznan. Claris. And the top left, hailing from Mexico, the Predator Esports Terran, this is SpeCial! The Guardian of Guadalajara.
I love these nicknames. Fantastic.
Analysis Concave was my favorite name that we've had so far.
Well, the Analysis Concave always beats the Analysis Convex. So
That is true.
at least we have that going for us. All right. I mean, will this be just another standard game coming out? You know, I've really liked in the past on Dreamcatcher, the 2-on-1 has always felt pretty good, but I think that build overall is a little bit antiquated right now, especially in the non-Korean scene. We don't see it that often.
I think so, actually. Yeah, 2-on-1 is more of a aggressive bio-Terran thing that, you know, your Beyonds, your Marus are going to want to do.
Yeah.
It certainly is still a relevant build, but you're absolutely right. In WCS, you don't see it too much. It's more like the 1-1-1 opener into, you know, the Viking and the Banshee with some Hellion presence. Sometimes it turns into mech, sometimes it turns into a bio. You get a couple barracks or extra couple factories, depending on where you want to go with it. I feel like Dreamcatcher is, for me, it feels like it's always a dangerous map for Zerg. There is a lot of terrain that's very abusable by Terran. But on the other side of things, if you do want to go mech on this map, like if this is the time the SpeCial decides he wants to go mech, the Zerg can actually use that terrain to their advantage with something like Swarm Hosts.
That's a good point.
Which is a very strong unit composition against mech on this map.
These ledges in the center, you know, these little walls all over the map, you can kind of see them highlighted here. This is what both is really great for mech, like you're talking about, and is really great for Swarm Hosts as well. You can get very close, but still very far, right? It's like very close by air, but everything is really kind of grouped up in these thin passages. So it's very hard to engage mech unless you're sending over locusts.
That's right.
So, I mean, we definitely could see something like that. And SpeCial, in my opinion, is one of the better mech versus Zerg players out there.
Is Nerchio going for the gold, or is he just hiding? I just think he's hiding for the Reaper. Like, you cheeky, cheeky boy.
That would be very interesting for him to go for the gold. I think he'd have to throw down a Roach Warren at that point. But
it feels like Nerchio is not generally the kind of Zerg that would do that.
No.
Just gets that third base there. He is sort of like, you know, you're mostly regular player. Lambo on this map, of course, went for that quick Roach attack on 20-odd drones, trying to seal the deal against TY. This time we're seeing a bit more of a macro game.
Yeah, definitely seeing that out of SpeCial now. Kind of am hoping for that type of mech play. And that thing he tried against Rogue, the mech and bio play, where it's like, okay, here's some mech and, well, here's a whole bunch of bio. It didn't end up working at the end of the day, but I would like to see that again. I want to see builds like that come to fruition. You could just see the ever-changing metagame of StarCraft 2 that's just so beautiful.
The theory is there, you know, that you force a Swarm Host reaction from your Zerg opponent and then overwhelm them with double upgraded bio and medevac to cut through the locust count. But Rogue did not give him enough breathing room to be able to, you know, get away with that one on Acid Plant. So we are seeing Steamy for SpeCial, and that's not a fake, that is real. So he's going to go into bio here on this map. Applaud that decision. Hellions and Reaper just looking for a little bit of map control here. It's just a small little force keeping the Zerg pinned in his natural.
Yep.
Banley Nest, again, regular time is here for Nerchio, just better safe than sorry.
Yeah, he is a little bit predictable in that way. He is kind of always ready to defend. I've always felt like that is the Nerchio superpower, where, you know, a lot of people consider him a late game macro Zerg. I almost consider him a Zerg that it's like, if you really try to mess him up early on, it's just not going to work, and he's going to be ahead and beat you in that late game.
Yeah, and I mean, even if he, I didn't even know he is actually predictable or not, but even if he is, he's also the kind of Zerg where, you know, he's like your, you know, how you want to talk about innovation, where he's so good that he just wins anyway.
Yeah.
And actually, we're seeing a bit more of a TY response here with the Tech Lab going in that Starport, looking to perhaps turn into a Raven in the early stages of the game.
That was something he was kind of missing out on that last game.
Switch it over, just getting those add-ons.
Oh, all right. Well, maybe that's going to be for the factory, get some siege tanks up.
Yep. Certainly. The reactor does take a really long time to finish, so making sure you're playing add-on hopscotch, as I like to call it here.
Yeah.
It's pretty important as a Terran. Seconds really do matter at this level of StarCraft.
Oh, very, very much so. Especially if you're staying on lesser bases. Now, he actually dives in with the Hellions, but only 3 drone kills? That, I can say without reservation, was not worthwhile.
Certainly not. We can see the resources lost. The resources lost is very close, but the real thing that SpeCial just gave away there was map control.
Yeah.
He now has those Hellions and Reapers dead, and doesn't really have a way of getting across the map except for this Viking, which for a jet plane is surprisingly slow.
Yeah, I would say so. But you know what? For a jet plane that can land and then shoot things on the ground,
Yeah.
I guess it's all right. We can deal
It's
with that.
okay,
speed.
and it does have a couple Overlord kills here by
Yeah.
the looks of things, so
Which,
it's
I
definitely
mean,
putting its work.
Not bad, and it spots the 4th base timing, so these are all very important things. But I am a little bit surprised that he threw away, you know, the Hellions. I just feel like those are such a crucial part of this section of the game, especially when you're in a situation like this. We don't see a 3rd command center, right? He's going 1-1. He's got the 3 racks. He's got the siege tanks producing. He's definitely going for an attack here. And without those Hellions to help out against the Lings, I feel like he's almost shot himself in the foot.
I agree with you. It's certainly going to be feeling that lack of splash damage against those light units, which he's going to be overwhelmed by potentially here. Nerchio's got a bunch of Lings running up to the middle of the map. His creep spread's looking pretty good again in this map.
Yeah.
SpeCial's going to have to start working on that because he wants this position. There's no tanks for this force. It's just a couple medevacs and Marines, so he can pick up and leave if things get dicey. But already finding a bit of free damage there. You know, getting some creep streamers and picking off an Overlord. Nice little pickoffs there for SpeCial. Another Queen.
Oh!
Wrong part of town, sister.
Yeah, look at that. Picks it off immediately and gets out of there. Denies a little bit of creep as well. I love that he kind of waited and then went right back in. He knows that Nerchio is going to instantly respread that creep.
Certainly. I like the upgrade timing here for Nerchio. He's actually ahead in upgrades against the Terran, which is +2 attack, +2 Carapace on the way here. It's going to be quite nice.
And it's such an important upgrade at the moment. You know, Nerchio, if he can just hold on at this point, that is really going to behoove him. We see right now SpeCial is actually moving in for the attack. He's ferried up a couple of siege tanks here, and this is scary. You see these tanks behind the ledge?
We talked about it.
Ooh, it's hard to break that Zerg.
And he's cleared the creep streamers for the most part as well, so it is going to start to recede, and he's opened the door here at this 3rd base. Nerchio, already finding himself in a spot of bother here, just not having enough in the end there to hold SpeCial back. That hatchery is dead.
Yeah, and that's definitely very good for SpeCial, but this is not game over for Nerchio. He has Baneling speed, and he has his 4th already up with drones at it. So to lose the 3rd, he's still up a base, and that is crucial.
It certainly is. The 3rd CC is not on location here for SpeCial, so the economy is not that fantastic. SpeCial needs to do more than what he's done already with his push.
He certainly does. He has more tanks coming down. He has 2-2 on the way as well, which is important. Once he gets up to that, it's really going to help. But if he can kill one more base, one more hatchery, he's going to have a huge advantage.
SpeCial's force is getting split up here. Banelings do have speed, but the tanks in this position doing a nice couple volleys there, getting a few of those Banelings. Nerchio needs to be careful here. Another engagement going awry, and he could potentially lose this game right here, right now. SpeCial's Liberator coming into that natural, getting a couple drone kills, but a nice quick reaction there from Nerchio. Whoopsie daisies.
Oh, he pulled the Hydra back. It only had one shot left there. That is a huge mistake. 6 drones falling and a lot of lost mining time.
Nerchio's attention being split here. The tanks are SpeCial, being guarded by the Marines, but the Banelings are opening up an opening. Are there any Lings to finish the tanks up, though? It doesn't look like it. Oh, no, Nerchio is in so much trouble. GG.
Oh, that is too bad. Everything just kind of falling apart instantly. It felt like Nerchio might actually be able to defend everything. And then it's just like the Liberator stays alive. Nerchio just runs all the units in and falls apart there. Kind of a heartbreaker here for Nerchio. This guy has been one of the very top non-Korean players for so long, and I feel like this has to be a little bit of a disappointing BlizzCon for him.
Certainly, perhaps even just 2018 not being the year that Nerchio wanted in the end. Looking forward to 2019 and what he can show us. He is a fantastic player, a veteran, deserves to be here. And SpeCial, of course, showing that he does as well with that 2-1 victory. He stays alive in Group D. Congratulations, SpeCial. If you're present, you get to face Classic.
What a present that is, I tell you. That is one of the very best, if not the best, Protoss vs. Terran players in the world. But of course, SpeCial, as TY promised us, he is capable of winning BlizzCon.
If the stars align and he plays his very best, it could absolutely happen here. Oh, look. We got WCS there on the launcher. There you go. Well, you guys can just watch from home in the launcher. Join Twitch chat, of course. The Blizzard mobile app I hear is pretty cool as well.
That's super cool. And if he keeps on there another second, we're going to see him watching himself in the launcher, and then it becomes one of those infinitely deep pictures. There it is. Infinity!
All right, well, let's go to the couches with the boys to see what they thought of this series. Kalaris, take it away.
Thank you very much. Pretty clean cut there in the end for SpeCial as that match continued on with the 2-0 in the end. Joining me to my left-hand side, we have Pig, Todd, and Mr. Tasteless. And guys, it was a slow but steady victory, I think, there for SpeCial.
Yeah, I mean, game 2 kind of ended a little bit suddenly, but game 1 is exactly what I was talking about before, where Nerchio can come in and he doesn't really get a lot of practice against someone of SpeCial's caliber, but he can kind of eke it out and drag the game on. But over time, I mean, SpeCial's coming in from the left, from the right, the north and the south.
That's right.
It was just constant marine drops everywhere, and he just picked up edge after edge and closed it out steadily.
This series went exactly as I thought it would. Like, it would be like kind of competitive for a little bit, but then SpeCial would just keep on getting further ahead and just so solid with everything, and just a clean 2-0 win.
He's a solid player. I like in that WCS Signature Series video, he mentioned he's not like the most skilled player, but he definitely puts in the most work, you know? So you can see it paying off, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you've been over in Korea as long as someone like SpeCial has been, not only when the Unity House came along, but he was there for a long, long time before that, Nick, as well. Eventually, that kind of hard graft is going to pay off.
Yeah, I mean, this is the whole thing about StarCraft. It is a game of hard work.
Yeah.
Nobody comes into StarCraft and picks it up and is like, oh, I don't know, guys. I think I got it. And yeah, it's good to see his hard work pay off. So, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of immediately and always puts your mistakes in front of you, right?
Yeah.
From the moment you ever start playing StarCraft. And it's something that just teaches you that hard work always pays off, and it absolutely has with him.
It's the most humbling game in the world.
There you go. We're all not very good. All right, well, let's head over to the interview and hear what SpeCial has to say.
Thank you very much, guys. Hajin here with SpeCial. Congratulations. You're back last year. You went to the semifinals, and now you're back to the World Championship Global Finals. What does it mean to you?
It means a lot because I really want to try to do the same or better, but it's very hard. But I don't know, maybe I can do it if I can beat Classic.
Who do you think, which player is going to be the hardest here in this tournament?
Rogue. I think Rogue is the best player, but there's a lot of hard players, but I think stylistically, Rogue is the hardest for me.
Okay, and now you will have to face Classic first to advance to the next round. How do you feel about this, the next series?
It's going to be very tough. I prepare a lot for him specifically and for Rogue. I didn't get to show against Rogue the best because in game 2 I kind of made a huge mistake when I was in a very good position. But I think I can win if the stars align.
And I saw you practicing actually, and you were off racing against Neve, and you were playing Protoss. Does that help you to prepare into a TVP?
No, it just show Alex that Protoss is the imbalanced race.
Okay, thank you very much. Congratulations, and best of luck in your next game against Classic. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, SpeCial, wrapping up that interview and continuing things on. Let's talk about this series as a whole, though. As again, you know, Nerchio tried to kind of prolong out some of those games and try and keep himself alive during all of that. But as you were mentioning before all of this, Pig, SpeCial just kind of practicing Korea, doing what he's doing, is kind of on that next level here to just kind of move on forward.
Yeah, he's a multitasking beast. I mean, we can see it on screen here. He kept coming in from multiple sides, and especially in this first game, there were a few moments like this where Nerchio kind of stomped on his army, but he was losing hatcheries behind it. There was always marine drops coming in, and it was just kind of this persistent and constant multi-prong aggression. And this is something that SpeCial was doing back in 2014, but he was often losing the drops. He was losing the little harassment squads. These days, most of the time, those Marines are picking up, they're flying out, they're flying back in later while he's hitting you in 2 other spots. It's very hard to deal with.
Yeah, his macro was also really on point, and I don't mean just spending his minerals and gas, but also like starting everything on time. His building placement, like when I look at his base, I was like, yeah, like this guy played World War. Like you can tell, like all the barracks are like making a straight line and everything's super clean. So just, yeah, very impressive series out of him. And this makes me almost like a little bit more hopeful for his next matchup against Classic in a way.
It's interesting because when you look at SpeCial, does he really actually have a weakness? You know how some of these players it's easier to typecast or something? I don't feel like there's any actual thing that we go, well, you know, SpeCial's good at this, but he's got to watch out. He loses to Cheese, or his super late game's not as strong. He's like really overall such a well-rounded player.
One of my questions is, could one of his weaknesses be kind of almost overthinking some matches? I mean, if you look back at the second game against Rogue, that's a very specific build to try and counter a very specific thing, and it didn't really pay off.
Well, it's interesting because he is so influenced by TY. You know, TY is a sort of mentor and a friend figure of him, and it's a lot about, let's find that very smart, clever way to play. And I think that did help bring SpeCial to the next level of his career, right? Because before that, you'd see SpeCial sometimes just kind of going a bit on autopilot. And now I feel like every series is very well thought out.
Yeah.
Occasionally, yes, a build gets a little bit too fancy, but I think the more the problem that strikes him is when he runs out of builds or planning, when he gets like lots of series in a row and he's like run out of builds and plays and he's not sure what to do in a game. That's where I think we see his skill level drop a little bit.
Actually, it's interesting you mentioned that because last year, the global finals, he was in semifinals, TY was in semifinals, and since he relied so much on the build orders from TY, they were both against the Zerg. He felt like he couldn't use TY's build orders, so he had to use his own, which, according to him, are like a lot worse. So he played his own style, and it went really bad, like he lost in the semifinals, just so that he wouldn't reveal TY's build orders before the second semifinals took place.
Yeah.
So that was like pretty cool of him, but at the same time, that kind of messed with him, the fact that he was relying so much on TY's build order.
Sure.
Now, the people that he's facing, like it doesn't need to like hide anything for now. So I feel like, again, like this is one of the things that makes me think he might have a decent chance against Classic, whereas usually on paper, like Classic would be a pretty big favorite.